All right, so hi everyone, and now this is the session probably which everybody has been waiting for. And at Startup Buddy and Baudik Ventures, we're celebrating the World IP Day today. And I've been seeing since the first session there has been a lot of people joining and asking questions. It's been a fantastic day. So yes, here we are. My name is Bibin Babu, and I'm the moderator for the session. I'm really looking forward and hoping that it's going to be a very interesting session, and we have an amazing set of panel across the globe, across various sectors, and fantastic people. And before without any further ado, I would like to introduce Rupam Bhattacharya.
Hi, Bibin.
Hi, Rupam. Rupam has been the co-founder of Ways Ahead, a deep tech startup based out of UAE and in India, and it was founded in 2017 and in 18 and filed their trademark in 2018. I think they realized pretty much early how and, they actually work on a lot of dashboards, and I think as important as a dashboard in a vehicle, so is Ways Ahead intelligent dashboards to any business are. So, Rupam brings in a lot of domain expertise into retail and entertainment sector, which has helped a lot of companies scale new heights in short span. So, Rupam, it's really fantastic to have you on the panel, and I'm sure even the audience are looking forward to hear your thoughts on the same.
Sure, thanks, Bibin.
And next we have Abhijit Patil with us.
Hi guys.
So Abhijit is a young tech savvy entrepreneur, and he's also the co-founder of India's first mixed reality startup. In fact, this word mixed reality startup came to me just a few time back only, and I've been researching a little more about it. So Abhijit started his journey from IIT Bombay, and he's a visionary that he believes in emerging technologies a lot. He has also raised multiple rounds of funding for Ajna Lens, and I think for all the audience here, he will be able to give a lot of real-time experience, which all of you are looking for from the session today. So welcome, Abhijit.
Thank you.
I think you should say hi to everybody. A very, very cheerful face. And now I would also like to call upon Neeraj Das. Neeraj is a very good friend, always a smiling face again, and very, very much active in the ecosystem. Neeraj is again an IIT Mumbai and a Harvard graduate. A lot of people envy that Neeraj, let me tell you. And he has a journey of more than 8 years in the startup ecosystem and has led close to 10 odd exits in transactions over 250 million odd USD. Correct me if I'm wrong, Neeraj.
Yeah, yeah, 8 exits. Yeah,
8 exits. He is a general partner in Seven Gates Venture, and in collaboration, he has also launched a niche tech-focused growth stage fund called as Kitaki Ventures. Right? And it's a fund pool of almost $150 million with an average ticket size of 750K, which is good money for people who are listening here today, right? My dear friends, Neeraj is the guy. If you're looking for money for your startups, and Kitaki will also be investing in a lot of Series A plus funds across Southeast Asia, Israel, Canada. So if you're looking to expand to a lot of other countries, guys, this is the right place. We have our few more, two of our friends who more going to join us, and there's some technical glitch, but I think we will kick off the discussion if that is fine with all of us, because people are being very anxious here. They are sending me messages on Facebook, on WhatsApp, wherever I've shared, on LinkedIn. So I think we will not delay it, and then we'll straight away go to the what people are waiting for. Sounds good?
Yes.
Yep.
yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
So I have this lot of okay. I think this discussion is more gonna be about taking out of my own curiosity about IP and its importance in startups. So along with the audience here, it's also about probably a lot of questions of myself being answered, right? I've been an early stage investor, and it's only very lately that I've been thinking about how important IP is. So, but yes, I mean, after knowing Saurabh, Vivek, Amit from Baudik Ventures and Startup Buddy, this is the time I realized that okay, it's important. It saves money, it makes money, right? And it makes you a player for a longer journey. So, what I'm going to my first question to all of you is that what has been your first experience or your first feedback or first interaction with any kind of IP in your startup or in any startup wherein you've been investing. So I'll want Rupam to take it up first, and then we'll go off.
Thanks, Vivin. So our journey with IP was not like incidental or something. So what we did is we started off with our first research in video analytics way back in 2018 December. And when we went to our client in the UAE, and our partners have been Bosch and Microsoft in the Gulf. Now, when we developed this, we developed this solution for past around 6 months, and we did a successful POC. When we went for the live session, I mean, for the live order, actually the purchase order. So then we realized that, okay, this is now going to be rolled out in UAE, then in Gulf and in other regions. So everybody was asking about, have you patented it? So till that time, we were not knowing the importance of IP and importance of our invention. So when we realized that, okay, people are talking about it and people are seeing to us mostly that, okay, are you going to file patent and how will you protect your innovation? So this is when we got in touch with a friend in Bangalore who suggested to meet Saurabh. And I especially flew from Dubai to Delhi to meet Saurabh and his team. And absolutely, it was a great interaction. And the result was that we filed the patent on video analytics in December 2019. And as on date, we have sold more than 100 units of the same innovation. And we look forward to 2020 and 2021. And Expo being coming to 2021 now, not in 2020. So look forward to that.
That's quite a lot for your first experience with IP, Rupam.
Yes, absolutely.
Abhijit, you've been in the mixed reality space, and I think there haven't been too much IPs being filed there.
Yes,
What's been your experience?
Yes. So as a core tech company, we have been doing R&D from last 4 years. Recently, we launched our product in last year. So all the 4 years, we actually consciously focus on the IPs. In all the 4 years, whatever R&D we did in hardware sector or software sector, both we have consciously patented. We have almost 20 plus patents till now in India and outside India. As a background from IIT Bombay, where all of the students are doing their research and patenting their stuff, I have a background how to safeguard my technology. So initially, from start of my startup only, I am focusing on how I can protect that patents.
All right, Neeraj. The same question to you. I know you're waiting for a lot of other questions from me, but let's start with this. How's been your first initial experiences with IP as an investor?
Yeah, so so I'll talk about my brief background, like where I had like a few patents under my belt when I was like running my own business, being a startup. So like the first thing which I always used to do is like file a patent, get the thing done, straighten up self, and then take it to the investor. So like the investor doesn't want to ask you the other question that where is your patent. So these are the first thing which an investor looked for back when I was there doing my own business. What I can say is like the IP is like the fuel for like 21st century. So, and being an investor, so we have an Hawkeye for companies and defensible tech. So like the tech should be like scalable globally. So the first and the foremost barrier which has to be taken care of is the IPs, like the patents, that has to be there.
Perfect. So I will now do the reverse, right? I'll start off with Neeraj, right? Because I'm actually getting a lot of questions in my inbox talking about investments. So and I'm sure since Abhijit has raised money, Rupam has his own bit of experience around that. So, as for you, Neeraj, what would you say that what are the most important couple of things or three things you look in any startup when you invest in? So let's go generic, and then we'll come on and connect it to IP. So, what are the three
Yeah.
most important things? Does IP fall under those three important things?
Yeah, sure. So like the first and foremost thing which has to be taken care of is like the mixture of both like tech and management background in a team. So like the co-founders has to be like super genius. Like the co-founder has to be like the guys who are to be the go-to, like to be the guys who has to take it forward. So a combination of both like a management and a tech is like the first thing we look into. The second is like the IPs and the patents, where how defensible the patents are. And secondly, like how scalable the growths are. Like let's say like if they're going into the different market, how scalable they are over there. So and again, how defensible they are over there. So these are the three criteria we broadly look into in the initial stage. Co-founders
Perfect.
are the must thing.
Sounds really interesting. Abhijit, what's your take on this?
Yeah, so I'll say to get fundraise, it is helpful a lot. We raise angel funding, we raise VC funding, tech startups, all the tech startups. It is must because it is one of the point on the checklist of the investor. I'll say. Sometimes it is equivalent to the technical due diligence or traction. If you don't have traction, you can compensate through your lot of patents, your core patents. You can say you can increase your valuation because of the patents. Also, in the Series A or Series B kind of funding, the IP, more than IP, the IP strategy is more important. It should be aligned with your business goals. It should be IP should be according to the applications, and it is clearly give a competitive advantage, and it should give some kind of monetary value in future. So for all these strategies, you definitely require a good patent lawyer. So I will say, yeah, definitely. Almost you can increase the chances of getting funding 50% if you have IPs on board.
Oh, fantastic, Rupam. Whenever you've been talking to a investor, so what are the things which they've been looking into whilst you raising money, or you talking to any other startup? What have been the important things which you look at?
Yeah, Bibin. So I completely agree with Neeraj and Avijit on the patenting part. And so when we have been also interacting with investors, so the focus was that, okay, have you secured your innovation? Have you secured your, how strong is your innovation? So that is the first question that came from everyone. And the two things I would like to focus on, one is the trademark, which is important,
Okay.
and another one is the IP. So both are equally important. So that's what I mean. Through guidance of Baudik Ventures, the first thing that we did is we filed the trademark, and then followed by the IP. So both are equally important. And as rightly said by Abhijit, so talking about the competitors, it gives us some buffer, some kind of a leading edge that, okay, we have something in our pocket when we go to the market. And it's a important factor for investor, I think, what they look forward for.
All right. So in a lot of superhero movies, there are superheroes which just suddenly land, just to save you. So we have two superheroes who just landed, Mukesh and Dhanuda. So hi.
Hi guys, sorry for being a little late. The call got extended.
No, you are not late. You're at the right time.
Perfect.
So for audience, I'll just quickly introduce these two people, though they don't need any introduction. Mukesh Malik, he is the CEO of SmartUps, and I'm sure SmartUp has reached almost every startup today in India. So and he's a fantastic consultant if you talk about strategy, and a frugal one. So if on any day you're thinking that you're feeling low, just give him a call. He will beat you up so badly with with this consulting that you will be all up and running. So Mukesh, thank you so much for joining this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
People send me messages that is Mukesh are joining or not, right? So all right, and I will also want to welcome Dhanuda, very active in the ecosystem. Again, a lot of people call him the devil's advocate. Yes, very much a devil's advocate in the startup ecosystem, especially in India. He is also the founder of Alpha Ventures. Very successful portfolio companies, very popular ones. And I really thank Dhyananda for taking our time and joining this session.
Anytime.
So we as part of the Justice League, we have done some bit of the talking right now, and I would since you guys have just joined, I'll want to throw that questions to you as well since whilst we were talking. So Mukesh and Dhanuda, what is it that in terms of startups, when you look at startups, what are the one or two important things which you look at? I mean, does IP fall into those top 2-3 important things? Maybe Mukesh, if you can take it up, and then we'll move on to Dhanuda.
See, okay, first of all, IP, I've been talking philosophically and conceptually also in India. See, we are a country of gurus. We've always been ashram and gurus, and knowledge dissemination has always been a part of our culture in terms of how we should really go out about sharing knowledge and whatever wisdom that we have. Like BB was just talking about me thrashing people up when they are low and down and use my knowledge to help them up, whatsoever that can come up with. So that's something that we've culturally been brought up with. But in today's scenario, protecting that knowledge has become a part of business because we've been primary agricultural economy, or then eventually we even tried our hands to become an industrialist economy, which still is in the progress in a way. But we turned out to be a huge service economy after liberalization, post-liberalization. That's what happened. So once we become service economy, copying and translation becomes much easier because it's an intangible and people can change the shape and size, which is invisible in today's times. People have been trying to do that and replicate your businesses and all. So today, protecting your business has become an imperative. You need to be able to protect your business. You need to be able to work with your business and make sure that whatever that you scale today does not really get eaten up by another capitalist who has more money and eventually can garner bigger resources, whatsoever that can come in. So as an investor, I'm sure DD will also agree. The first question everybody asks, what's the barrier to entry? When someone really has to come into the market altogether. So when you're talking about a soft industry or service-based industry, the barrier to entry is the intelligence that you've created, the way you've been working, the IP that you've created. So to protect that particular barrier, to create that barrier around you, to safeguard your interest and scale up in collaboration with the capitalist rather than getting eaten up by the capitalist. It's important to protect it. Nowadays, great that India is getting really well aware of IP laws. There are a lot of organizations helping you with the patents out there. People are working and developing this beautifully well. So I think it's really critical for us to protect that part first, then start building business around it. Because it's easy to create noise about whatever that you're doing today. I mean, social media is out there to your support. But I would always recommend all the startups to try and get out in the media only after you know that your IP is well guarded, you're working on it very well, and then you start talking about that to people. So that's an important key part.
Very valid point, sir. Dhanuda, I have questions for you, but then we will just start off.
Definitely. No, I think I do agree with many points with Mukesh sir. He is definitely making a lot of sense because today making a noise, shouting out is very easy. Right. Protecting your IP is important in that sense. And but as we were from Gurukul and all that, right. we rarely believed in these things. Email was never patented. The guy who created was an Indian.
Right.
And as you said, devil's advocate, the patent do help in things, but also stop in many things. Like if you see, my personal think in investing for a company, whether they have a patent or not, that's not the primary reason. The primary reason for rejecting a company is if they are copying any patent and why they are copying it. That's when I reject them. But while selecting the company, I take help of there are these great guys in who are helping me in my company, Alpha Ventures, Bodhic Ventures, Saurav and Vivek. They help me, find patents in my company. They help me find a patent for a power gummies company, which is just a gummies company. So not the primary reason to invest in startups, but yes, the primary reason for rejecting these startups if they are
Okay.
copying something.
Sounds good. So since you anyways accepted that you are devil's advocate, right, publicly. So let's talk
You
about the
blame
side
me.
effects. So let's talk about the side effects. We've been talking about all the good things about IP. Let's talk
So you
about.
know, as you know, you already blamed me. So you put me in the place where Israeli governments, you know, Mossad, they always put a person who have to object, no matter what. He have to object. So you put me in place. I'll take that forward. You know, I mean, it's both ways. I mean, you know, if you see the cameras which we are using now today, you know, digital cameras, they were patented 20 years before, you know, we started using them in 97, 98. uh, they were stopped from production because of Kodak completely. And look at where
The
Kodak is.
patents. Yeah,
If you would have
exactly.
allowed with a smaller amount of royalty, just like how CDs or I would say GSM
Yeah,
technology, you know, everything had life,
yeah.
which they did not realize, and they blocked from producing it, their team, and they blocked others to produce this as well. They did not allow anybody to produce this digital cameras, and that's the problem as well when you see the patent are stopping people from doing stuff.
Right. Neeraj,
To-
this question is for you. I will extend this question to you, right? That have you faced any issues where IP has created a problem? I mean, IP has been a setback for a startup.
Uh, Probably not. But again, like if like so, like we once in a like so we were actually evaluating a startup, and we found the co-founders really amazing. So like we mostly look into the co-founders, like how frugal they are and how good vibes with us towards us. So the initial days, like we were like super strong, and then like we found that like the tech is amazing. We did a small survey and search, and then we found that the tech is not nowhere there in the market yet. uh, but somewhere down the line in Israel, there was there was a guy who had a patent for that company, like for that product. So eventually they had to like buy that product, like buy that patent and get that guy onboarded to him so that like they can execute the product. So
Okay.
yes, like they said, like Dhyanudas, like patents can be also an issuing factor. But again, like if you see the broader picture, I would slightly disagree with Dhyanudas. Like patents can also be like a kind of thing which can actually help you build your product much better.
no, I'm sorry. Without saying, I think what I'm saying is not that, you know, you should not do patents. You should do patents. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
the only criteria in investing. And I
No,
also
it
said
shouldn't
that,
be
you
the
know,
only criteria. Yeah.
I also said that, you know, like you yourself faced a problem. If somebody is copying, that could be a
Yeah.
primary reason in
Exactly.
rejecting. But
Yes.
if
Yes.
you have a
Yes.
good
Yes. Yes.
patent, if you have a good patent, share it with people. Do
Yes.
not block
Exactly.
them from, you know, do not block
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. That's how like
I'll
that
also add
Israeli
on,
guy did, right? Yeah.
if Vipinda allow me that time, I also, you know, add on, you know, where the startups or the companies got killed because of this.
Yes.
You know, it could be either ways. And, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes companies, you know, I'll give you an example of like.com.
Yeah.
I think they timed their case against a company, I'm forgetting the name, when they were just about to raise. Everything was signed, everything was finalized. They were just about to raise, and I mean, the company was called Modesta, and they were raising, and they filed a patent infringement case, and the 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 company got killed because of that. So I think that's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
not advocating that do not go for patent.
So
You should
Abhijit
go
and
for patent. All
Vipul,
my
Yeah.
companies.
thank
Yeah, I
you.
guess like better is to like do the research first. Like, yeah, do the research first based on your technology. Do a
Yep.
great research. Like, is there any patent or something like that? So if there is a patent, so the best way is to like join hands with the guy who already has the patent and take it forward.
Let
Agree
me
with you.
let
Agree
me
with you.
This is
make
what
this
is
conversation
this is what
little
is
interesting.
fantastic. This is what is
Yeah, and
fantastic. Two investors fighting with the
I'll throw further to it, to these investors. I'll throw further another mix to it also altogether. See, it's easy to break a patent with 15% variation that you can bring about. All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
it's fairly simple for me to be able to understand your technology and put my own tadka to it. Maybe change the color from green to red or yellow
yes,
whatsoever, and do whatever I really wanted to. Or from a digital digicam technology, I only change certain set of megapixels altogether, and it's a new technology being created altogether. So
Yeah.
I can make these two investors fight further up again that, patent is breakable easily enough, or patent doesn't really help much. So one of them is talking about reusability of
I'll
patent
stop.
is not available out there, or probably the other one. I'd say that I can break the patent. You can go out and buy technology as much as you want. I can still research and study the technology and create my own with 10% variation, and that's about it. It's all about reverse engineering.
Mukesh sir, I will actually ask Rupam and Abhijit here to add, because they
Yeah.
are technology companies, they file patents
Right.
on it. Have you
Right.
faced a situation like this wherein you have a patent and there is and you still have some problems because of that, or some competitor has done some tweak and raised more money than you?
Right.
Yeah, Vipin. So actually, I mean, same thing. What Dhyanu also said. So we are also into video analytics, and camera is an integral part of it. So I mean, what we did is like we partnered with the OEMs first of all. So we partnered with Bosch and we partnered with Sony. So Sony is a part of Bosch. So in terms of cameras, I mean, they are sister concerns right now in UAE and Gulf. So I mean. We found out the technology which was not there in regular cameras and what the pain point was, and we moved the technology completely out of what was a regular scenario. So that 10%, 15% what he is referring to, what Mukesh is also referring to, also we had a scope of same kind of issues, but we somehow managed over there, and we successfully filed it. And yes, I mean, there is always a same kind of situation that can arise, but I'm not sure when we go to the market in full scale what kind of variations will come to the same technology.
Exactly.
And how this can be overridden. So we do always have a fear on that.
All right, Abhijit, what's your take on it?
Yeah, so as we are working in the very niche core AR/VR technology, fortunately we didn't find this case in our company. But yeah, if you see the huge competitive advantage which we do have, tomorrow if my competition wanted to come into my market, first of all, because of my IPs, they will think twice before entering into my market, And if they actually wanted to enter also, they has to pay a huge amount of cost and struggle to enter into this market. So, and tomorrow, if as my competition is a giant like Microsoft and Magic Leap of the world, so if tomorrow they wanted to kill me, or tomorrow they wanted to acquire my market, instead of that, because of my IPs, they will think to merger and acquisition instead of killing me. So fortunately till now I don't have such a cases right now, but in future I'm safeguarding myself with the IPs.
Perfect. So now I'll,
Yeah, I
I'll
guess
go
like
back to
yeah, I guess
Neeraj.
like yeah,
Yeah, Neeraj, I mean, since there are
yeah. Go ahead.
investors who invest at different stages. So you look at A series, right? Bridge rounds. I'm somebody interested in early stages. Dhanuda is pretty much okay ready any round, right? Mukesh sir invested early stages. So what, as per you, is the right stage where a startup should go for filing? Should they go when in the beginning itself? Should they go whilst they are raising more money and they're scaling up? What is your take on that?
Yeah, I guess like creating and filing IPs are like two different points altogether. And it's like building is like a critical at the all stages. Like it's super important to be protective about your technology. So let's say like when let's say in the early stage, it's very difficult for the startups to file for the IP because IPs are costly, and in order to like safeguard their prototypes and safeguard their technology, they need to make sure that the core features of the prototype has to be patented. They have to like pour in the money over there itself, apart from the business development. So let's say like in growth, so periodically they have to like build their IPs as per the goal. Like let's say like if we tell me about myself, so like if I need to like look into a like Series A company who is just raising Series A from me, so I need to have that company to have at least like 2 or 3 patents which are basically focusing on the core technologies, and then they need the money to like why they're asking the money is because like they want more patents to be created after the fundraise. So I guess like gradually they have to like fill the patents,
Okay.
and they have to protect their patents themselves. And again,
Okay.
it also becomes like a good mergers and acquisition story in the future. So like
That's
bigger
right.
companies like, let's say, like Cisco or other companies, they only buy patents, right? Yeah.
So, Mukesh, sir, what is your take on it? What do you think? Because you work with
Skills
startups
and
at all
culture shift,
stages.
basically.
Right. See, point that is that I know protecting IP is an important or critical part, but what I've also seen is most of the IPs do not reach the stage of relevant use cases also as well so many times. I'm super excited about certain technology that I've built in my laboratory, which I'm really happy about and all. But the relevant use cases in the market sometimes are not identified in that particular stage. So if I mean, I would eat up Vivek and Saurabh's brain on that particular part that what is your patent to reaching the market or go to market ratio today? Is it's not that great in today's times because filing patent is easy because I've thought an idea, I like that particular idea, I'll use it, but it's never been tested in the markets. People may not even find relevance to that particular idea. Could be so that is something people don't really test first. So I would always recommend that even if it's a limited testing or a market testing that has to be done of the use case that they want to deploy it in, that's an important part. And then I know there is a risk that someone might want to reverse engineer or identify the recipe, but if your technology is so reverse engineerable, I don't know why would you want to launch it so immediately or without
Yeah.
protection, or why would you want to protect it if someone can reverse engineer it so easily enough? So the point is, first test the use case in the market, identify if there is a business to it or not. Not just the business through direct implementation. I have also not seen, like Didi was just talking about, Kodak did not implement the Digicam patent available to them. There were millions of use cases available, either through scientific discoveries, through integration with the phones now that has just happened, or otherwise that he could have sold that technology in various reusability of the patent or reusability of the product also is not explored much. Most of the people don't really explore that part also as well because they have a fixated use case in mind. They would create a product around it, and they would always want to go out to the market basis that use case only altogether. So that is something that people should do more research on before filing the patent because it covers a wider scope also as well. Because sometimes use case can also break a patent. You simply say you took a patent in auto industry, but I'm using it for water pump right now. So you just can't do anything about it whatsoever. So do your research, take it to market, figure that out how it can really work, and then of course file for patent, protect the IP. First, let it become an IP. See, is it really enough an intelligent property or not? You need to first establish that. Then start working on that particular part of filing the patent altogether. So that's where it is going to be. That's what I believe.
Janada, any take on that? At what stage you recommend to startups
You have to
go
object
for
to
the
it, Didi. Remember, Didi, you have to object to it. You remember.
Yes, exactly. What I'll do, primarily I invest at early stage when the idea is in just the head of the founders. I do invest at later stages as well, but I support the startups I have already invested in. Maybe that could be the reason I am most of my startups are still surviving and growing
Right.
to that way. Where I see the patent happening, I absolutely agree with Mukeshji on that. Whether it's patentable technology as well or not. I can share two examples on that. One company is I invested in is called Skill Answers, which is into robotics panel cleaning. They are cleaning solar panels through robotics, and I put for all my companies, I take the advice of uh, Body Crunchers always. Now it's they are almost same time analyzing the company when I am analyzing to see that whether the company have the patent or not. So that's the first thing I do to any company. Second thing, what I do to a company is basically see that whether this company do really want a patent, and
Thank you.
or it's just doing the patent just to have one more buzzword around it.
Right.
That's the only thing. That's what I ask the patent experts, not the founders. And I start doing that process in the very early stage before even investing the company. That's when these guys help me, the experts, the advisors. So to analyze that. So my advice to all these startups who are listening to us, or to anybody who is listening to us, is get a good mentor in this IP field and ask him to analyze you discuss everything with him. Ask them to tell you whether you are actually requiring this, because founder, everything for a founder, it's like a baby to a mother, whether it's whatever kind of baby it is, it's her baby, and it's the most beautiful baby of the world. So I would say that, take an advice and do the needful with the investors as well, and tell them with the real facts and figures that this is the professional company which is advising me to do that. That's where I can pay for the patents as well, not a problem.
Sounds good.
Sir, I objected in
I
a
mean,
nice way.
to support Didi's case, or like what we're talking, I'll tell you one of the funniest patent that I've ever heard of is the patent given to a device which can hear if at all there is a buried guy alive under his grave or not. Okay. So that's a patent right now. That's a patent filed in US. That's available.
A scary patent.
So it's a scary patent. It's available. So if there's someone you buried alive, he probably can shout out and people can listen to it. That's what it is going to be. So there's a patent to that device today. That's available.
I don't want it.
When you want to do that.
I'll never invest in it.
Oh, they took it seriously that IP is oil.
Exactly. so all that is available out there in the market in terms of patenting. So people can really work on that.
All right, Abhijit, at what stage did you file an IP? I mean, we're talking about we're suggesting to startups. What is your experience in it?
Yeah, so we started the company in 2015 or so, when we are about to graduate from IIT Bombay. And I saw in my journey, all my friends in IIT Bombay, maybe BTech, MTech or PhDs, they already filed their patents into their projects, and some of them are already taking their patent journey to the startup venture. So I will say, whatever stage of startups you may be, and whatever money into your account, you should allocate at least 10% of your money to the IPs. There is a benefits out of it. When I know 10% for any startup who don't have money is a huge amount, but eventually it will come back to you when you will raise the fund, when your valuation will be decided, when you go for the acquisitions and mergers, or when you create a revenue. So it's like it's a brand value for you. Like if you are from IIT Bombay, the chances of getting funding is higher, right? Similarly, if you have 10 plus patents, then definitely the chances of getting funding is higher. So this money will definitely come back to you over the period. So I think from starting only, everybody should put at least 5 to 10% of their money to the IPs.
All right. Any take on that, Rupam? At what stage did you file your IP, and was it helpful?
Yeah, definitely. So, as rightly said by Abhijit, so we started off early. I mean, first we did the research, and when we filed the IP, when we saw a potential market, actually, we saw that, okay, we have already sold 30-50 units in the market, and market is taking up. And then we thought that, okay, to safeguard ourselves, this is when documentation and IP and putting it in the file and document is required. So that is when we filed, actually. And I mean, our invention was a completely different. So we applied this concept of blue ocean strategy, what we say, that this technology, usually when you say camera, IP camera, it uses DVR or NDVR, what we say, for recording. But our technology doesn't use that. So directly we talk to the server, and we have a technology which can reduce the bandwidth of the camera output, and we pick up only the things that are required from the frame, actually. So it reduces. So we found that is innovative, and we found that it will save our customers precious bandwidth and the server storages and all those things as well. And we saw that there's a gap, we saw there's a market, and while we were pushing it to the market, marketing about it, we filed the patent at that time. So thanks to Baudik Ventures, thanks to Saurav for giving us such valuable inputs. And as we speak, we are already filing 2 more patents for Indian market as well.
All right, and to all the listeners and viewers, we have more than 100 plus people. Baudik Ventures has not paid us to do their funding like this. It is real.
They're generally doing a great job.
Yeah, they're generally doing a great job. So even one of our portfolio companies called Cron Systems, so they are filing patent through Baudik Ventures itself, and they're filing it from Canada itself. So like these guys have a reach in not just in India, but they do have a offshore channel where they can help you in getting your patents done. And it's quite easy thing to do, because these guys you like a friendly guest kind
Alright,
of thing,
so-
and then they also act really good man kind of thing.
Fantastic. So I have a question. I mean, and this comes from my college days, right? So I was working on a data analytical tool. I mean, and I started a company. I mean, I'm talking about 2009. I didn't file a patent because I was not aware about a patent, right? And gradually I sold this to a company at a very early stage within 9 months, and they were able to file a patent on it. On the entire analytical tool which we had built. So my question here is that if a startup comes to you and they have a product which probably is patentable, right? They haven't patented it yet. So do you still give them that added advantage? Do you value them on that basis? Is it important for you at that stage even if they have not filed a patent? Neeraj, I'll start with you on that and we'll move to Mukesh. Neeraj, can you
Yeah,
hear
I
me?
guess like again, so we are more of like people centric. So like the first, yeah, I can hear you. So can you hear me? So what I say is that like the first is that like we're people centric. So like if we found the founders good, if we like the founders, then we get glued to them. And once we get glued to them, we get into their back and then see if there is some kind of synergy we can help it and get it done or something like that. So if there is a patent which can be done, so we'll try to get that patent for them itself. So we are always open for that.
Okay, perfect. Mukesh, sir, what is your take on it?
I think I'm facing some connectivity issues here.
You can probably just refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danuda,
So,
I'll move on to you.
Yeah, I'll speak in the meantime. So definitely, I give them the added advantage. Definitely, I mean, like I earlier said, you need to find a person who can help you file a patent or find a patent in your company. So my criteria is definitely give them all the due credit and help them get the patent as well at the early stage, so that they can have more chances of surviving and growing and get more investors, kind of our attention by having a patent in their company. Many companies
Perfect.
invest because if you have a patent.
Perfect. Mukesh, sir,
Yeah.
I would want to know your experience, especially on the Indian context.
First of all, we all have our blind spots. I mean, for entrepreneur, like taking back your case that you started in college and you did what you did. We all have our blind spots for not being able to know the real value of it. There are always some business insight managers who would know it better, or they could be investment bankers who would already have someone else struggling for it, and you probably have the matching technology for it also as well. So it's also about the span and the visibility someone may have. So that's an important part in terms of what and how the timing of patent is going to be important. Something which is patentable, yes, it is good. And I do encourage people to patent their ideas only, as I said, once it is translating to business. Otherwise, if at all, it is for laboratory purposes. So let's be clear about that. It could be a good lab intelligence that you've created, and you could actually give it to certain labs who could use it or reuse it and extract some value out of it. So as an entrepreneur, our job is to be able to find value even in the scrap that we create in our businesses. As BB mentioned at the beginning, I'm one of the frugal guys, very frugal entrepreneur who would want to figure out and recycle the business value and the value proposition that has to come in. So that's important. Patent, yes, nowadays is becoming important. It's becoming more and more respectable. Earlier, people, the business practices were also a little skewed. Controls were not as good because the information management was highly isolated. So the patent office was also not digitalized as much as it is today. So that information is actually moving very well nowadays. So breaking, or I know technologically, yes, on technical grounds, breaking or challenging a patent is easy. It's also made it easier now than what it used to be. But I would always encourage people to protect the intelligence that you've created. At least do something what you can. Let's not be cynical about that someone or the other will anyway break it. So why not? That should not really be the reason not to do it. If you see the value in it, protect what you've created. That's the most important part.
Perfect. Rupam and Abhijit, what do you think about the same question?
Yeah, I mean, rightly said by Mukesh and Danuda. So mainly what we think is once we see a market around it, it's better definitely to go for the patent and get your documentation done. That actually gives us, what we saw that when we were doing this filing of the patent, we saw that there are much more use cases around the same technology.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
started off with entertainment, and then we saw that even events and exhibitions can use the same technology. And as a result, today we are bidding for Expo 2020 as well. So it has broadened our horizons when we started filing and putting everything down for the patent filing. So yes, absolutely.
Yes. So yeah, as Tom said rightly, in my technology-based company, if you see any mixed reality headset or augmented reality, there are many number of patents we can able to find. But when you define the IP strategy clearly with your patent lawyer, that time you will come to know only few patents which are actually applicable to the business point of view, which are clearly aligned with the business goals. They are the important ones which you need to file first. If you have bandwidth, then you can file others also. But initially, first you have to focus on them. Which can help you to not only give you the competitive advantage, but also it can give you a monetary advantage in future. You can license them in future. You can get money out of it. So yeah, it should be business oriented only.
All right. So I have a question for Neeraj here. Since he runs a tech-focused fund, is Neeraj here, or did we just lose him?
He's struggling. He's trying to come back. Yeah, he's here.
Neeraj, can you hear me?
No, he's analyzing some product companies as well, not just.
Yeah, so there's like technical.
Yeah.
Neeraj is actually enjoying the weather outside. So, Neeraj, you are a tech-focused fund, and you've invested in a lot of deep tech startups, right? How do you evaluate them? In relevance to IP, otherwise a niche technology, you as a team may or may not be able to figure out. Are there any similar startups anywhere else across the globe? So, how do you evaluate them? So this is actually for the benefit of a lot of tech founders there listening to us. What is your way of evaluating tech startups? Oh, yes. Neeraj is facing some.
He's enjoying
I guess like there is a technical
So
glitch.
the tech investor is
So can you
struggling
guys
with
hear
tech
me?
right now.
Sorry.
So,
Okay. Yeah. So it's a very like a different kind of questions which have been jotted down to me. So I would like to dissect into like different objects over here. So the first thing is that like when we are investing in tech startups, so we generally look into how good is the team, how aligned the team are to the whole cause. This is the first thing we do. We also ask so we create stories. So the main motive of our investment thesis is like we are an exit-driven entrepreneur, like investors. So what we do is that like we create stories around like how we can like get an exit, or how can that startup can be like a good merger or acquisition story in near future. So based on that, like we have few investors who can come into like Series B or Series C, or let's say like a few companies who can come into like going to like buy or acquire certain products or services. So we look into like on that regard, and then based on that we create a story that this tech need to have this kind of IPs, this tech need to have this kind of like exposure in the market, this tech need to have that kind of MOUs to the other companies which are dealing with them. So it again depends upon based on like all the different kind of like sectors and what kind of investment we are doing right now. So again, the first and foremost thing is like the co-founders. The second is like the tech, how frugal and how aligned to the business is the tech is, and based on that like we invest.
All right. So I'll.
So if I'm, I heard. Like,
Please go ahead, Neeraj. I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, so I heard like this much only. Like I guess like was it this on, or you have something else which you?
No, I think that was it.
So I couldn't hear you because of the technical.
See, and I just want to talk about a little current scenario. When we're talking about a lot of impact on businesses due to Corona and the current lockdown. My defense, do you think there's going to be any positive impact or positive impact on startups at this kind of a time? And is there something which you want to quickly suggest to startups? I know I'm a little digressing from the topic exactly, but I think everybody wants to hear an answer to this. So Dhanuda, if you want to take it up at first.
Do I have to play the devil's advocate? He's asking me to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think there is. If you see, all the almost 50% of Fortune 500 companies, they all were created post Depression 1929. And if you see the markets or the startup world, they are all impacted very badly. There are many, many, many positive points in this. One, that what we are doing today, if we are doing it in this in a big 5-star hotel or somewhere, the audience would be around 150, 200 max, and we were doing the same thing, spending lots of money, and now we are doing it online, and a lot of people are listening. I have had audience of more than 500 in the last couple of days back, and there was an audience of 1,500 once when there was a small little celebrity from TikTok, and that's what happens. That's one impact. I was already working on my video conferencing system at my home office. So that's another. People are learning how to do video conferencing. Earlier, I used to tell my founders who used to come and meet me from Bangalore. One guy came and met me from Calcutta just for a 2-hour meeting. And I was telling him, why don't we do a video conference? And they were not comfortable. Now everybody will be. Second big impact will be, people will be working from home, which we are promoting since 30 years. And it's not happening. We are just saying work from home. Only the top, 20, 30 companies of tech are doing that. I know a lot of friends who earn big packages. Big means really big packages. 4-5 lakh monthly salary hota hai, and they work from home. But now, if you read the article about these big companies, even today's article of हमारा Tata Consultancy का है, TCS का, they are saying 75% of their workforce will work from home now. It will bad effect after this thing. But look at how easy TA, DAs, traveling costs. I have gone to Singapore to attend just to one meeting. I have gone to Dubai in February this year. The conference was at Burj Al Arab, which is one of the finest hotel in the world. And I just went to attend that. 60 people only. I think now we can all be doing this. It's a very big impact. And thirdly, people were, not happy with mergers and acquisitions or strategic alliances. Now I have been flooded with offers from not just the IBs, investment bankers, but also the startups. Sir, you were talking about M&A for our startup with other startup. Can we talk about that? And that's, because I preferred always 80% of the companies go for M&A. 70% of all world companies goes for M&A. And now we are all realizing that this is a good thing because there is no option. We need somebody to at least take us out, or we need somebody to sell our product, or we need something or the other, which we don't have, which we been trained for so long, for so many. So a lot of positive impacts of COVID. I hope I played devil's advocate nicely.
Mukesh sir,
I'll give you the other side of it altogether. Let me play devil's advocate to the devil's advocate right now.
No, this question was made for you.
So the point is, yes, we are becoming more and more efficient. I am really happy that something that I've been shouting out for so many years to be efficient and more frugal about your business and not the lavish way of working that really has to work. But one big, I'm scared about one particular thing is that we're activating a lot of markets today in terms of consuming digital content or video interface or working from home and doing a lot of stuff at this point in time. But the problem is there is no second stage to it at this point in time. I haven't really heard anybody talking about how to engage this activation infrastructure that is being created right now. We've started budgeting ourselves for this new change and new activation that is really happening, which may or may not sustain long enough. I mean, we've all seen how demonetization happened, and we thought that the whole world will become digital in terms of payment infrastructure. 4 years cut to, we're back to 90% cash transactions back again. So something that we're trying to do a lot of things right now, and I am a little scared about so many youngsters getting swayed by the current activation trends and investing themselves into doing it. I mean, I have more than I have hundreds of e-learning applications, pitch decks lying in my inbox in last 1 month or so. All of a sudden, everybody wants to run an e-learning company immediately now, or everybody wants to create a video interface solution whatsoever that may just happen, or everybody wants to do something about COVID or something or the other that's just happening. So while we're doing all of that, I simply want people to think the next steps also as well. Don't get too invested into creating this infrastructure all of a sudden. And that is what scares me sometimes, because we're leaving whatever that we're doing currently and we're just trying to latch onto the opportunity. That's about it. And if you talk about, and I've spoken to a couple of startups in a very simplistic language कि तू तो कुछ और प्रेजेंट कर रहा था 20 दिन पहले और आज कुछ और प्रेजेंटेशन लेके आया, विजन ही पूरा बदल गया, क्या हुआ? तो which I understand. See, any assumption that we had as of 21st of March 2020 does not hold true anymore. Okay, in terms of all our business projections that we'd had, but change it to a point where you can sustain post activation. Like Paytm became big at the time of demonetization because they had infrastructure to support that activation. They already had built that infrastructure to support that activation. But for someone like me to take on 1 million users tomorrow is going to be a problem. I will have much more pilferage or much more consumer leakage or market leakage than supporting them. So that's one part I'm little worried about. It's from 6 months from now. So I see a lot of churn and attrition happening. I'm sorry, my job is always to look 1 year from what it is today, not today. I mean, today is, we're all experiencing today. My job is only to look in the future, not the crystal ball that I have, whatever that way I have it. So I see a lot of churn, attrition, which is already pretty heavy in startup ecosystem right now. For people who may not know what really is going to happen next, we can activate right now. Anything that I can do, but how are we going to engage is what I'm really a little worried about. Yes, we will all become efficient by nature. It happened in 2007, 2008 recession time also as well. Cost management as a buzzword happened 12 years ago in corporate world. People never used to manage costs at one point in time.
Right.
Cost was not a criteria to manage. Revenue was, the top line was the only thing that people used to manage. So I think it'll push people to start talking bottom line management also as well now. That'll happen in a very good way. Technology adoption will be great. As you said, my mom's using FaceTime today to talk to her sisters at the age of 65.
Yeah.
So which is a great adoption of technology. But I know the moment lockdown is over, she will not go back to FaceTime ever again, because they will meet in person or they'll have their own kitty parties back again, in some time or the other. So how do we bring that customer back to that? This is an important part.
All right. So we have a couple of minutes left, and a lot of questions. I tried to take it up already during our discussion from the audiences. However, this is also because of this panel discussion, there is a storm outside.
Yeah,
We'll have,
I can see that.
we'll have to take care of that. So before all of us sign off, I want Rupam, Abhijit, Mukesh, Dhanada, and Nirida to just give out probably a one-liner or a small anecdote to people out who are listening to us in lines of IP, and any suggestion which you have for the time forward. So we can start with Rupam.
Yeah, thanks, Vivin. So really, it was a great discussion and a great panel. So my one-liner would be that, yes, while you are starting off with your business and then getting into the business mode, two things. First, you see the market, and second, look for the IP. So these two things should run parallelly. So as IP is important, business market size, understanding the end customers, use cases, all things are important. So should go parallelly. So keeping in touch with both the things is important for me.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just to add more points into Rupam's points, I think adding cost to the IP generation will every time will come back to you only. So I prefer put your efforts to hire people who can add value to the IP. Definitely, it should add value to business also. So my point is just focus on your IPs, because that will eventually add value to your startup.
Thank you. Neeraj, what do you think? I mean, any last anecdote to startups?
Yeah, I guess like this whole COVID situation is actually a really good thing for the startups. So they can actually go back to their boardrooms, they can virtually, and they can go back to their Javelin board and canvas and jot down what are the loopholes, what are the things they can do, what are the loopholes they can actually pivot into. So this is like the best time for them to understand more about their technology or their business, and then get something fruitful out of it. So I guess they can work it out, and because you're not traveling right now, so you'll save a lot of time. That's what we do right now. So
Perfect. Another. All right. So we'll move to Mukesh there. I think.
I think the technology is playing its part right now. Okay.
Yes.
yeah,
So, see, for me, I would say it's an anecdote that I give a lot of startups today when I talk to them. People who've been watching Formula One race, this is a safety car round for everyone. So, all the lead that all your competitors or people with resources had is all eliminated right now. It's a safety car round, it's a yellow flag round. So, you have an advantage at this point in time because, as I said, any assumptions or any business models prior to 20 March do not hold true anymore. So all the assumptions are changed, all the dynamics have changed. So the current IP will have a lot of value. Intelligence will have more value than ever in the current circumstances, if you really look at that and all. And take advantage of that and move forward. That's about it. Fight it out.
All right. So I would like to thank all of you, Rupam, Abhijit, Neeraj, Mukesh, and Anudha for taking out time. It was a fantastic discussion. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fantastic being on the same frame with all of you guys.
Thank you.
And looking forward to work with all of you. And as we can digitally or personally. Yes, thank you so much, guys, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So thank you everybody for joining us in this session. It was really amazing. I saw a lot of questions and suggestions coming on to me. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would also want to announce, or rather say it again, that Baudik Ventures is now Baudik Ventures by Startup Buddy. They have merged together and they're going to do even a better and larger scale job. So for any IP related queries, please do reach out to Baudik Ventures. And again, this is not paid. I'm not doing a paid promotion. So thank you so much, guys. It was fantastic. And have a good day. Stay safe, stay home, and rock it just as all of this ends. Thank you. Thank you so much.